Hey, yeah. All right. Let's end my 14-hour workday with some streaming. And let's talk about some light conversation like First Amendment. First Amendment. A few months ago, I covered the raid of Marion County Records. And if you remember that had some serious effects on many people. It went headlines everywhere, coverage everywhere. Then TurtleBoy was arrested. And a few headlines and lots and lots of traffic on the interwebs and on YouTube from a lot of people, but not very many headlines. And I thought that today would be a good day to see what's different and what are the similarities between the two. And as per usual, I got home half an hour ago, set everything up, and then invites was out. Dave on Making Law Simple will join in a bit. I sent out invites to a bunch of people, including TurtleBoy, but as per usual, I send out invites 10 minutes before I start. So we will see if more people show up, but at least Dave said he will show up in a bit. I just need to talk some crap with you here for a few minutes more until he shows up. Hello, Danny. Hello, Atheist, and hello, Guyver Mectin. Yeah, Aidan on defense is already claiming juror misconduct. And, well, we will see what kind of papers they will submit to it. But it's a bit of a good luck with that. A lot of luck with that. But never say never. Nobody expected the Murdoch's defense to come up with what they did. So if they find anything, we will handle it. I will cover it. Maybe not today or tomorrow, but if there is actual something to report on. Definitely on Friday. On Friday, I will do a finally Friday stream. I didn't have one on Friday, but, well, I had one, sort of. But hi, Daisy. Hi, Daisy. Yeah, and I also know that there is Verdict Watch in the Maya case, Maya Kowalski. And I have one of those. I have one tab, so I can have a bit of that as well. So I can see if anything shows up over there with it. As per usual, find me on social media, specifically my Twitter or X. And let me there. So if you have a Twitter account, don't be afraid to look me up there and retweet and like and everything to get better coverage with that. Yes. Hi, Peace Peony. And Megan Fox is doing Verdict Watch, so I don't have to do much about that. They are 4 hours in. I did invite her here, but because since she is a reporter, I thought she would have interest, but I assume she's covering it, and unless they send the jury home for the evening, she's busy. And if I covered that trial, I would be busy too. I would definitely be busy too. What else happened this week? Yeah, the Adelsons. Yeah, we got the verdict we wanted, somewhat expected. The jury deliberations was short. And I do know a bunch was a bit surprised over that and a bit annoyed over that. And I kind of agree with Hella over at Excited Utterance that it's a person's life on the stake. Don't just go in and vote. At least present your thoughts to the other jurors and let everybody do the round. Exactly what was it that you thought was the evidence that concluded it, and why you didn't believe the defense. That would take at least 10 minutes per juror to at least explain it, and then do the rounds. That's at least 120 minutes. That's 2 hours. And well, if you all agree, well, it's not much anyone can do, but at least take the time. Would be my suggestion. But I will never be a juror unless I move to the United States and become a citizen. But I don't think I will be called as a juror anyway, because, well, law degree, negotiator for 30 years. Yeah, they wouldn't want me in a jury. And speaking of people you don't want in a jury, no sound.
There we go. That's better. Every criminal defendant wants me in a jury.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's exactly why neither of us would ever be found in a jury. The state might have some objections. Hey, Nick, what do you do for a living? I negotiate for the union. Yeah.
I had to pick a jury once as a public defender, and the prosecution was so mad that a retired defense attorney got on the jury. But hey, it was the way it was. And then we ended up not doing the jury at all because he took a plea. But prosecutors don't want attorneys on the jury.
Yeah, that's what surprised me with the Maya trial, that they had both a nurse and a retired cop in the jury.
Huh. That's never good.
But then again, they had a jury pool of I think over 100, at least two, maybe even 200. And once they boiled it down to the 12, they were out.
Did you see my new mug?
Oh no, I didn't.
Yeah.
I need to order stuff.
It came in yesterday. I ordered it the day we premiered the shop. So it wasn't that long. It took like a week or so when I got it in. The new logo and everything.
Yeah. The nurse turned out. She became an alternate.
The nurse
but I think the retired cop was on the jury. And I also saw from Guy Vermectin that the Adelson defense are already claiming juror misconduct.
Well, what did we hear from Gosney's lady? Was it Gosney's lady? That in every case that she investigated, she found some sort of jury misconduct?
Yeah.
In every case?
Every case.
You know, in theory, the case that I sat on, you could probably accuse of jury misconduct, because I sat down with my school books, which I was allowed to bring, but they were law books because I was taking like Introduction to the American Legal System and stuff. That could probably be considered jury misconduct of some sort. But I don't think it was. I think we made the proper decision.
Yeah. Now, today's topic is the difference between Marion County Records, and TurtleBoy. And yeah, because Marion County Records was huge when it happened a couple of months ago. There were headlines everywhere. There were, Washington Post, New York Times, all the big ones reported it. There was a huge press, both press and pressure. So, the effect was that, so far at least, the police chief who wrote the affidavit fired.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
Yeah, that's really, really big. And I have here the latest about that case. Let's see, share screen. And
yeah, the woman died too, right?
Yeah,
The owner?
the co-owner, she was 90.
Oh, okay. Well, she was kind of on her way out anyways. All right.
Yeah, but she was up and about, and on the day of the raid, everything was recorded on their home security. She pushed her stroller onto the cops, like, "Move it, you bastards," and yelled at them. So, yeah, she maybe her vision and hearing, but she was up and about, and just the fact that she passed away, that was huge as well, and probably helped it gain more press.
Yeah, I would say so. But
Yeah,
that was wrong what they did to her.
Yeah, and now Kansas, the absolutely latest is that, first of all, the police chief apparently wanted to put the owner under arrest, but that never happened. And now we get to
thing.
Say what?
I said probably a good thing that didn't happen, because that would just be even more of a lawsuit against them.
Yeah, there's already quite a big lawsuit in the works, but here's what the backpedaling on Kansas officials is now on the way. Kansas officials downplayed their involvement in Marion newspaper raid. Here's what they knew.
Of course they do.
Documents show that multiple Kansas officials... Well, do everybody see it? Yeah, everybody can see that, I hope. Documents show that multiple Kansas officials offered unquestioning support of the Marion County Police before their unlawful raid of a newspaper, and then attempted to sidestep the international outrage that followed. International, that was me. I take full credit for that.
Yeah, you were definitely the international outrage.
Well, technically I am.
I'm a part
of it. Yeah, I take full credit for it, because I haven't read any newspapers in the Europes that cover this case, so I take full credit.
Yeah, you call it the Europes. I'm gonna go with that.
Yeah, that's what we go for. And my Jesus Christ, why is my internet acting up? Oh yeah, fuck it. 15 minutes in. Yeah, I've been at it for 14 hours today already. Yeah. Some words might slip.
I can't get my lights to work. Oh, jeez. Okay, now I'm timed out. I'm locked for a minute. Stupid.
And thank you for to two people who retweeted my tweet. None of them were Dave. I don't understand.
I was driving, sir. I just got here. I climbed up into the treehouse and jumped down with you. No, I need to. There we go. Now I've tweeted it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So, okay. So, what's this new information?
Kansas Bureau of Investigation, Kansas Department of Revenue, Marion County Sheriff's Office, and the Office of the State Fire Marshal along with the county attorney and magistrate judge, were complicit in the August 11th raid or knew it was imminent. But in the days that followed, they largely downplayed their involvement. I
So
would too.
for people who don't know, this is a small mom and pop newspaper, and they ran an article, right, about one of the local politicians. Very small, low level local BS, right?
Here's the thing. Well, they were about to have an investigative article about the police chief. They also received information about a local business owner who happened to be friends with the local. There's a lot. It's a very small town, and it's one family who is more or less lawyer, owner of buildings, and mayor and everything. It's a very small town, and but that business owner had a DUI on her, so she never retook her driver's license. She kept driving, and this was reported through probably her ex-husband to the newspaper. The newspaper said, "We will not publish this. The sources, it's a family dispute. We're not getting involved in all of this." But they didn't really care because they sent the material to the cops. This is what we received. We are not going to write anything about it, but you should know that this person is driving around and has done so for a decade without proper license.
So let's see here. It is a it's a true situation. It's a violation of the law. And this newspaper's got word of it. They're not making up anything.
No.
And the police raid them under which theory?
Identity theft. Because they claim that one of the sources they got the information from is not public. There's something about Kansas and license.
Now
something.
Okay, so they got the information fraudulently or somehow stole identity in order to get the information about the DUI, and they got it improperly. That's essentially the allegation, right?
Yeah, and the cops claimed that they broke into the registry or something like that, and therefore it was identity theft. But
there's no evidence to suggest such, other than the fact that they knew the information, right?
There are claims they did a check through somebody at the DRV or something like that.
So that's what I was kind of getting at. So now compare that to TurtleBoy.
Yeah.
Who, like, the most egregious thing he might have done is asked people on the interwebs to research a license plate and give me the name of the registered owner, to which someone from allegedly a dispatcher, got into the state system, looked up that information, and then provided it to him.
Yeah.
So they're bringing conspiracy charges and unlawful access of that database. That might be, if it's proven, the most egregious thing against him, but they use that as a basis to shut him down entirely on the Karen Reed case.
Yeah. And this was also what the police and the prosecutor, the newly elected prosecutor, who also happened to have a DUI.
Everyone's got a DUI.
Yeah.
All right.
And so he submitted an affidavit. They claim it wasn't entered into the record until after everything went down, and a lawyer was involved. And hey, where's that affidavit? Yeah, we will send it to you. And it didn't show up until like a week later.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, the affidavit. So if you guys don't know, in order to get a warrant, you need to have reasonable suspicion that evidence of a crime is at a certain location. You need to identify that evidence of that crime. Like, what are you actually looking for? And you have to have specific and articulatable facts that support your allegation. One of the things that necessitates that is essentially is an affidavit by a sworn officer that says, or somebody that says, we have credible information, and I swear under penalty of perjury that this is the information we have, and that we want to go get, and this is its potential location and things like that. So not having an affidavit, it goes beyond just the prosecutor's office or the police officer that didn't turn it in until after the fact. Who's this judge signing off on this warrant without an affidavit?
Sorry, it was the newly appointed judge, not the prosecutor. Once the prosecutor, but here's the thing: the prosecutor, once he got it in his lap, I don't want anything to do with it. So it was nope. You have to return everything, and they fought returning everything. Because they had copied everything over to a hard drive, which they claimed had other cases on it. So they wanted to copy over from that USB stick or something to another and send that one. Here's the thing. If you do that, every trace of what they actually did with the information is gone. So what should have happened was they should have sent that, and a specially appointed magistrate or something went through it and took the other stuff from that USB stick, not the other way around. Because in that way, you save whatever they did, whatever information they went into is still saved on that USB stick. Who did what? But yeah, that didn't happen. They got the information back that they covered on a separate stick, which I believe is destruction of evidence. But that will be another thing.
Yeah, no, I mean, it absolutely could be. And it could be the police trying to cover their tracks. Again, when we talk about this compared to TurtleBoy, there's not much difference.
No, I mean, there's not much. The only difference is that Kansas or Marion County Records is a newspaper. TurtleBoy, and let me just to see the difference, what New York Post called it. TurtleBoy blogger faces criminal charges.
Yes.
Blogger. And this is a way, because this was also in the hearing. They kept calling him an activist, a blogger, everything but a journalist or a reporter. So
yeah, because that's too respectable of a term for him.
Yeah, exactly. And that's also one of the differences, that he is a one-man show. But many, I mean, in today's age, at least in Europe, a lot of reporters are freelance. They have their own company and they more or less lease out their services to different papers on contracts. So they are more or less single person reporters as well. But they have, well, everybody who does reporting, because we went through this a week ago about freedom of press is not freedom for the reporter or the journalist, it's freedom of the technology of a printing press.
Yep.
The medium. And if it doesn't matter if you have a blog, if you have a YouTube channel, if you are a newspaper, it's the medium through which you report on something the public have interest in or should have interest in. That's my opinion, at least. And
yeah, I mean, anyone who conveys information, you and I right now are conveying information. We are members of the media. We are part of the press. We are whatever little tagline or name you want to put on us.
Yeah. Well, in the States, at least in Sweden, I need to have a publisher's permit to have full coverage. I still have coverage as freedom of opinion and freedom of speech, but freedom of the press is a higher level of freedom here.
Because you don't have the Bill of Rights. That's why.
Exactly. We don't have a Bill of Rights. Yeah, it's exactly. Blogger versus small local paper. That's it. I'm also on Rumble. I forgot to check.
Anyone who spreads information to one or more individuals is the press. Yep. Yeah, I mean, you're a member of the press, you're a member of the media, you're a journalist, you whatever. The town crier that stands at the corner and yells things out into the public street is technically a member of the press.
Yeah. And I'm live on Rumble as well. Yay.
Valhalla,
hey, Valhalla. Yeah, U.S. Constitution is a far greater document than the European Charter of Human Rights, where in that charter...
Oh, yeah. I was going to do a stream about the Canadian Charter of Rights. I was going to see if Viva wanted to do it with me, because I'm going to talk about our federal structure of government and what rights and how they apply and stuff. But and so in comparison, I was looking at the Canadian. Oh my God, that's just basically, you can do it if we say you can. That's kind of how it works. Is that same in Sweden? I'm putting too fine of a point on it.
Well, the Swedish, we have 4 fundamental laws. Freedom of speech, freedom of press. So it's 2 different. And then we have the law that constitutes the royal family. And then, Jesus Christ.
So I see Wicked
here's how unimportant it is. I can't recite the 4 freehand. I mean,
I've looked into Swedish law too, because I kind of want to know my rights when I'm in Sweden.
Yeah. How to form the government, the succession, or then you have freedom of press and freedom of speech.
Yeah,
so but we have so many laws that circumvents it. Then on top of our Swedish fundamental laws, we have the EU Charter on Human Rights that governs us above that. So but that as well, more or less, in Sweden it is, if you want to change stuff in our fundamental laws, you have to have 2 votes with an election in between.
I have a way. So I like when I form companies for people, and I tell them to operate, just operate just like Google would, or any other corporation, giant corporation. I have this kind of spiel, and I talk about putting numbers behind it and whatever to make it sound interesting. But let's take, for example, the New York Times. All right, New York Times is a very large newspaper and website purveyor of information. Okay, they have a website. They have employees that are reporters. They have editors. They have owners. They have newspapers that they actually literally print and produce. All right. Now let's start taking some stuff away. If we remove the website, or no, let's keep the website. Let's remove the printer. All right. Physical prints. They're just online now, totally online. Are they still a member of the media? You would probably say yes. All right. Now let's get rid of the editors. So we just have reporters and an owner. Are they still a member of the press? Most people would say yes. If you get rid of the reporters and the owner is the only one writing articles, you still have, there's still a member of the press. There's still a member of the media. And so just because you're not as large as the New York Times doesn't mean that the fundamental law behind it operates any differently. From this little mom and pop shop to the New York Times, they are the same. Now, the New York Times I use as an example, we take away the press and now they're only online. What's the difference between that and TurtleBoy with his blogs? He doesn't need to be in a Worcestershire Gazette or anything else. He blogs online. That is a member of the press. There's literally no difference.
Yeah. And I have this notion that since these are, I thought after the Marion County record raid and everything that occurred after that, the chief of police fired, the Kansas KBI is investigating everything. Now, apparently they had knowledge beforehand as well. So there are a lot of people, better be careful. And then, I mean, that was in August. Now we are in November. 3 months later. More or less exactly 3 months later. And TurtleBoy happens, and TurtleBoy has a huge following. He had for the internet. There are, news articles about it, but it's very downplayed, and I'm surprised because if by any chance TurtleBoy gets a jury trial and somehow he gets convicted for some of these, what does that mean for the rest of the press? Because I can bet first and last rent on that court case. If it survives, the government will use TurtleBoy's arrest and conviction. Then they will call him a journalist and say to the other papers, look at what you can't do. You can't follow cops around and ask them questions anymore.
I'm going to go a step further. Let me tell you this. I'm going to do a stream on TurtleBoy, or the saga that is TurtleBoy, tomorrow. But it goes beyond the press. It goes to you and me and anyone else, because the police in Canton, Massachusetts, just yesterday, we got a video of it, tried to shut down a protest group, like 5 or 6 people that were standing there with signs, free Karen Reed, saying that they were intimidating witnesses because they were within eyeshot of one of the police officer witnesses when they were protesting. And so they were intimidating witnesses. So it goes beyond just shutting down the press. It goes beyond, you guys are, whatever, YouTubers or bloggers. It goes to anyone.
Yeah. And you have freedom of assembly. So does we.
Yeah.
So do we. And you have the freedom of expression, holding up a sign.
Yep.
So do we. I mean, Sweden, we have the right to burn scriptures. Quran, Bible, Torah. We have the right to do that as an expression of free speech. Is it wise? Not especially, but you're allowed to. Because being allowed to and wise to do it are two completely different things. And me personally, I draw my line at, National Socialism. That, for me, goes beyond freedom of speech, because in my opinion, that is always a preparation of murder. And that is a crime. But that's my opinion. It doesn't mean that the law is written that way.
Well, and a lot of people misunderstand the whole, like, screaming fire in a crowded theater and stuff like that. That's not even the law. You know who does a great breakdown on this is Uncivil Law. He did it maybe about a year ago or so, and I really like the way he approached it, because it's not it's not freedom of a press, right? It's not an it's a the, right?
Mm.
So what is the? The is a definite article. It's not an apple, any apple. It's the apple. It's a specific apple. And so when you talk about freedom of the press, what is that freedom? What's it designed to do? And it's designed to be contrarian. That's the stuff that needs protection.
Mm.
It's designed for free flow of thoughts and opinions. It's not designed to commit a crime. It's not designed to libel or slander somebody. It's the freedom is designed to convey contrary opinions, free from restraint. So that's really what we're focusing on here. And just because TurtleBoy or this newspaper have a different opinion as to the narrative held by the police department doesn't give them the right to shut them down. I don't know how clear it can be. It just that this stuff shouldn't be happening in the United States in 2023.
And let's see here.
You know, we a similar issue with people streaming the, I won't mention any names, but there's some people that are streaming the Trump trial.
Yeah.
And although it's been granted media access, there's the judge in that case is saying like anyone who's restreaming this is violating the law. I'm not sure you are.
No, because if I remember correctly, especially when it comes to Florida. Now I know this is at Florida.
Oh, it's Colorado. It's a Colorado.
Yeah,
not Florida. It's Colorado.
Yeah, but it's a continuation of the if you can sit in a courtroom, if that is a public place for anyone that has room.
Yeah.
Then if you allow cameras and stream yourself as a judge or courthouse or whatever, because you want to reach more people, then you can't really hinder rebroadcast because since it's public, it's not copyrightable.
Right. And so that was the issue that Law and Seaward had with their streams, you know, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. But another thing is that so I've been doing some research on this in connection with the TurtleBoy. I'm going to do another stream talking about picketing of the court, and I'm going to expand it into media access to the courts. And so there is a role for the court to play when it comes to cameras and recording in the courtroom, to some extent, to a limited extent. If the judge determines that it would interfere with the proceedings in some way, then they can put restrictions on that. Like, for example, I was going to cover the Lucas Gearhart case up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan last year or February or something. That trial was supposed to start. And I went up there and I filed my notice of media coverage, which you have to do. It's not asking permission. It's just giving notice that I'm going to be covering this. And then I went up there and met with the clerk, and the clerk was like, all right, well, the judge really doesn't want like a bunch of cameras and large cameras. They're going to allow one camera or like one crew to set up cameras. And that's it. You're going to have to do a media pool after that because they don't want 30,000 cameras from every news source.
Yeah.
And since we were first in line, we were going to get the scoop on it, which I thought was awesome. Ended up the trial didn't happen. He pled out. But the other concern was they wanted the cameras small. And I had these smaller little cameras at the time. And I said, listen, they're like really small. We're going to put one up against this post. It's going to be focused on the witness stand. We're going to have 3 total. That's it. You won't even notice they're here. And that's the sort of thing that the judge can kind of dictate. But once that media pool, once I put it out there, I was allowed to cover it. Once it's out there, anyone can stream it because you're already granting the access to the court.
Yeah. Yeah, and that is also why Law and Seaward and Court TV, why they had to stop claiming and shutting people down because they didn't have the right to it.
Right. Well, so what Half Irish is talking about is different. So what you're talking about is essentially fair use. It's a copyright claim. So let's say I don't even know. It was C-SPAN that was streaming it. All right, so C-SPAN is streaming the Trump trial. Doesn't matter. Company A is streaming the Trump trial. The question is can you stream it, a direct copy of it, and just period? Can you do it? And so you fall into two questions. One, is it legal to film in the courtroom? Well, we've already established that because the court has already allowed C-SPAN to film in the courtroom. So that's not the issue. The second issue is copyright claim. Is someone who's grabbing that feed and just restreaming it, are they duplicating work that someone else essentially produced? And that's why we talk about the commentary, because that's the fair use part of it. That's where you're creating something different from the original material. But that doesn't fall into First Amendment issues. The whole fair use thing, that's a copyright issue. That's a whole statutory issue from C-SPAN public access. I don't know. I know it's a publicly owned source. I'm just looking at Valhalla's thing, but I honestly, I don't know. I'm not a copyright guy. I'm not a intellectual property attorney, so I don't know all the little nitty gritty details.
Yeah, maybe it was that he also gained access to the courthouse website, but that is the one that C-SPAN. That was their. They had the, I don't know, streaming rights. But
yeah. But again,
yeah.
I don't think it's not a fundamental First Amendment right to film in the courtroom issue like the judge is making it out to be. I think it is, and I didn't look terribly much into Colorado specifically. I'm looking at U.S. Supreme Court cases, and it's essentially if the judge makes a rule on what media, if media is going to be restricted to a remote room, or if there's only going to be a certain number of journalists available in the courtroom because they need to reserve seating for witnesses, family, other people like that, or, whatever. As soon as this court kind of makes a rule, they have to have a reason to change it. And so they made a rule. C-SPAN can stream it. Now, there might be something with using WebEx, which is like Zoom, and the courts use them directly. Now, in Michigan, you cannot restream a Zoom hearing of a court proceeding without filing that notice of media coverage. I'm going to be covering this. But that's again, just a different rule.
But we have these judges who streams via YouTube as well.
Yep.
And because I follow one judge, where is he?
There's some that love it, and there's some that don't like it. And but they put everything up on YouTube still. During the vid, Michigan, the Michigan Supreme Court said all court proceedings that can be done via Zoom are going to be done via Zoom, and you're going to broadcast them on YouTube for everyone to see because we're not allowing people in the courtroom. That's what the Michigan Supreme Court said. And there's so many judges and attorneys and people that loved it so much that when that mandate went away, they still do it. And so I still do, I would say probably 80% of my hearings via Zoom. And there's probably maybe 20% of the judges in the state still stream on YouTube. And I still follow them. Court of Appeals even streams on YouTube. So, you could follow them on there, but I will say this: the order says that you cannot rebroadcast it without getting the judge's permission. So you still need to file that notice of, which I do for all my Michigan cases that I cover.
Yeah, but as you see here, it says "do not record."
Yep, that's exactly what it says because that's what the law says. Was that Michigan?
Yeah, that's both here. Yeah, 53rd Circuit.
Where's the 53rd Circuit?
It is.
It's like Traverse City,
Sheboygan, Presque Isle counties.
Okay.
Yeah, I have no idea what that is.
It's up near Traverse City. It's kind of up near where the guys that were kidnapping, whatever, the governor.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. So but look at he streams. It says do not record. Well, it's already recorded. It's still there. So I don't understand, because I watch it just in case he has something interesting. He rarely does. But I haven't found anything interesting, at least. But I do know that you can't. But I don't think he can stop
Well,
me.
I can. I just file a notice, media coverage, and I could just simply say all cases on the docket for November 8th, 2023 in front of this judge, and I could just file it. And then I will have everyone will be on notice that I'm covering it. And then unless someone objects, I can restream it, no problem. But so now we're talking about the long arm of the state, right? So the state's jurisdiction. If you there's a general rule.
Yeah, I'm a long way away from that.
Yeah. The arm is not that long. So you will be safe. Or you get a Law Talk with Mike in Chicago. He streams Michigan courts all the time. They're not going to touch him. And in fact, there was a thing about Judge Simpson, who's a judge out of Washtenaw County, Ann Arbor, that I practice in front of. I got a great story for him. I love him. But his clerks, from what I understand, and it might not be his specific clerk, but one of the clerks in that court is not a fan that Mike is streaming him. And she's like, but what are you going to do? I was, because you can't do anything. He's in Chicago. I mean, what are you going to do? We can't stop it, is what she said. But it was funny because I was representing an individual, and kind of after the fact on a quasi-criminal, quasi-civil sort of thing, and involved liquor license, whatever. And I wanted to know what happened in the hearing. And she's like, oh, well, you could just go online and find it. And literally sent me to Law Talk with Mike because he had streamed it. And I was like, oh, there's my client. So that's how I found out. She's like, yeah, I don't like it, but you could find it here on YouTube instead of getting transcripts. So that was awesome.
Yeah. But you have another judge who is a little bit more famous, but that's Judge Stephanie Boyd. I think Law Talk with Mike have covered her on occasions, because she has had a few interesting cases. I think last year, she had presided one of the bigger ones. Now, Judge Stephanie Boyd is... Oh, where is she? Texas. And what was that case?
I shared a screen if you want to pull it up when you're done with this one. So this is Michigan Virtual Courtroom Directory. This is operated by the Supreme Court Administrator's Office. And you can click on, I don't know why it's doing that. You can click on any county, or you can just click on the county. And then it'll take you down to a list. And here's the virtual courtroom. So 6th Circuit Pontiac. This is Judge Anderson. And then you can go, that link is broken. Oakland County doesn't do it too much anymore.
I just realized that if you told me what cases you had going to trial, I could find you there.
You could, yeah, absolutely, you could. So, like the judge you were just talking about. So you click here.
Chat, would you like me to stream one of Dave's trials? 1 for yes, and 2 for hell yes.
So yeah, so you could, yeah. So you just go. I clicked on the link, but it doesn't share the screen automatically. But yeah, it literally takes you to their YouTube channel, where they have all the stuff streaming. So if you're like, okay, Wayne County, that's my comb. Here's Wayne County. Let's see what's going on. So every once in a while, I will pop in here. I'm like 36 District Court. This is Detroit. This is like the crazy court. You're like, click on that. You're like, oh, I can watch all of this fun stuff. Yeah. So here, hang on. Let me. I don't know if there's anything to share. I'm not going to pull it up, but here you can, if you want to share the screen again. So you like click on it, and then it literally takes you to here's the courtroom 223. Here's the court, and then you can go to other live feeds and watch other things. So I love this, but I can't stream these things unless I file my notice. But if you're not in Michigan, yeah, you can. What does two mean? I see a lot of twos.
Hell yes.
Okay.
One for yes, two for hell yes.
So, well, now you got to find the website. I have it bookmarked. But sometimes it's funny, because I'll be sitting in the back room on Zoom. I'm like, man, our hearing was supposed to start like 45 minutes ago. What's going on? And then I click over to YouTube, and I could see that they're handling a different trial or something. So I know what's going on. Hang on, I'll be right back.
Yeah, but we were talking about Marion County Records. So here's from Friday, November 3rd. City of Marion refuses to turn over public records after raid on local newspaper. So they are still covering our asses mode. City of Marion finally made a point of getting rid of the police chief that raided a local newspaper, with lethal consequences for its co-owners, but is refusing to release public records related to the incident. The attorney hired by the City of Marion following the raids on a Kansas newsroom has blocked access to records that should be publicly available under state law. Says, we do public business on personal cell phones, and personal cell phones aren't public record, is Jennifer Hill's legal theory. I would argue that is complete bullcrap. It doesn't matter which device you use. If it's used in your line of work as a public official, elected or hired, and it relates to a specific incident, then you have to turn the information over. Because
sorry.
No.
I was just going to respond to Wicked Sykes' question. I still don't know what their excuse is for reading the newspaper. So what they said was the newspaper published an article that the mayor or whoever, some official, it doesn't matter. Some official didn't have a driver's license because they got a DUI.
They never published it. They sent everything to the cops and said, we are not going to publish it because it's something fishy going on. It's a dispute between husband and wife because that business owner was in a divorce. So they suspected that person, the husband, did this to get an upper hand in a future custody hearing. So all they did was gave it to the police. You handle this. We will not touch it.
Okay, so they didn't publish it, but they gathered they knew the information from some source. They sent it to the police then.
Yeah.
All right.
So
the police said the only way you could have gotten it is by somehow stealing the identity of somebody else or accessing the information illegally and use that as an excuse for the
And in this, what they claim, we suspect that the newspaper did this, even though the newspaper said we got this information. So what happened was that the cops wanted the source. But instead of issuing a subpoena, which I believe is Kansas law regarding information from newspapers, you have to actually issue a subpoena for the information. You don't read it. And then the newspaper can challenge it in court. So the local cops try to circumvent this with the help of newly appointed judge who, signed off on the affidavit and the search warrant. and raided the place and took computers, hard drives, phones, everything. Raided the owner's house where the co-owner was, took computers, devices, everything, because in the search warrant it was all electronic devices. Was yeah, and that's not, at least not in Kansas. No, that's not how you do it. You issue a subpoena for the specific information you want, and then it's up to the newspaper to either release it or challenge it.
Yeah, I mean that's a typical way you can do it. You can get a warrant, but you have to have the sworn affidavit ahead of time as well, not after the fact. So obviously a judge rubber stamped this thing. That's a huge problem, by the way, with warrants in general. Like the accusation is always, oh, the judge just rubber stamped it. It's not supported by anything. Otherwise, but you don't really have proof of that until a situation like this happens, when you literally don't have the affidavit until after the fact. It's kind of proof on its face that this was a rubber stamped warrant.
Now it was dated, the affidavit, on the day and signed and everything. Well, the affidavit wasn't in the record until a week later, but the search warrant and everything that referenced an affidavit from the police chief. But since it wasn't put into the record until a week later, who knows? I mean, you can be highly suspicious because the affidavit should be more or less stapled together with the with the warrant. But it's
Brian Albert so far has won against having his phone turned over with the same excuse that he has personal info on it. Okay. I mean, that's not going to stop them. What it'll do is it'll get it to a like a special magistrate or a discovery master. That's what it'll get it to. So some third party to look at everything.
Yeah. And then also that brings us over, because the TurtleBoy with the search warrant and everything, for me, is the exact same thing. Cops got a search warrant from, well, they arrested him.
Yeah.
Then they took every device he have ever owned, and I believe they still have it.
Yeah, you're not getting that back. I mean, it'll be a while before you get that back, but
because it's not the same public pressure against this against the TurtleBoy incident.
Yeah, what I understand with TurtleBoy is they're going a little bit, I might be wrong, but I think they're going to go a little bit more on the offense in that case and try to get the stuff back, try to get the case dismissed as soon as possible, filing motion and stuff. But that stuff's expensive. It really is. It's always value litigation.
Yeah, because the government has all the resources. TurtleBoy has to buy his rights to get it back. And
TurtleBoy wasn't arrested again, just the one time.
Yeah, not again. This is me comparing the two cases and how similar they are, but how different the public and the press is handling them. Because for me, it's the exact same thing. Corrupt cop has a judge who's willing to rubber stamp. And when it comes to the Karen Reed, I mean, there's a lot of cops who really wants TurtleBoy to shut up. And I would assume a few judges and prosecutors as well, because he is challenging more or less the system in that county.
Yeah, he's challenging everybody. Yeah. And that's the biggest problem, is that he's going up against everyone in that system.
Yeah.
And they brought in a special prosecutor to charge him too, because of the interest with this. But I mean, there's something to be said. People always talk about, all the attorneys are corrupt because they all work together and blah, blah, blah. I mean, we do go to the bar associations together, but it's not like the clicky between prosecutors. That clicky between prosecutors is strong. You don't screw over another prosecutor. You don't charge another cop. That there's some truth to that.
Yeah, and that is bothering me. And I know you stream about it. Megan streams about it. Nick Ricada have streamed about it. I'm trying to get my little. I mean, I don't have. I mean, not during verdict watch in the Maya trial. Yeah, I'm not getting much. But the more people who stream or does video talks about it, the more pressure it will become pressure the more who talks about it. But it's hard to keep the pressure up.
Project Veritas, I forgot about that. Yeah, Project Veritas, as Half Irish says. Yeah, I mean, it's a campaign now. And so, I mean, you can even go to like Snowden and stuff if you want to go way back. The problem with him is that he's revealing confidential information he's not supposed to have, right?
No.
But then you go after the media that's producing it. I mean, we have a case right on point with that. It's the Watergate case. We had a whistleblower in Watergate, and the Supreme Court said, yeah, they don't have to turn over their source, and the newspaper is free to publish it. That was New York Times v. Sullivan, I believe. And so, I mean, we have cases on this very thing. Not so much TurtleBoy, but the specific the newspaper, the Marion County case.
Yeah. So maybe TurtleBoy needs to be a test case, sadly, and for that he needs resources, because whatever happens, civil suit, if he, for some reason, if the judge dismisses everything, which I think he should.
Yeah.
But since there aren't any cases in higher court that protects a blogger / activist as a member of the free press, if there aren't any of these court cases in state Supreme Court or federal court or Supreme Court, then kind of needs to be one.
Yeah, and so that's what I'm researching right now is who is press and how the court can limit access of the press. Because essentially what you're doing, if we're going to look at this fairly with TurtleBoy specifically, not the Marion County thing, but TurtleBoy, you're balancing two things. You're balancing the right of the press and individual freedom of speech rights with ensuring that court proceedings go smoothly without interruption and everyone has a due process, right? So that's really what you're balancing. And whose right is superior? Is there a balance that can be struck between those two? That's the fundamental issue at hand with TurtleBoy and that witness intimidation law, the way it's being applied. We understand witness intimidation is a bad thing all around. Potentially is joining us. Sean might be here. It's that shitty Ohio internet. That's all I'm going to say.
Sean, you are spinning. Hey, there you are. Can you hear us?
Sean? He still might be connecting. But yeah, I mean, so that's the fundamental thing that we're talking about balancing out. Now, in my opinion, again, and so think of it this way, right? The right of the press to print stories about Zachariah Anderson versus Zachariah Anderson's right to a impartial jury and a proper due process within the court systems. All right, let's throw it in Zachariah Anderson's situation. Right now, is there justification to stop the press from printing about Zachariah Anderson if it would potentially influence the outcome of his case? If you're on a Zachariah Anderson side of things, you're going to say, yes, they should be stopped, right? Now you're the opposite position with TurtleBoy. And so that's why this area it's not cut and dry.
Yeah, but also more or less the entirety of the local press and some of the state press published everything about that case with Zacharias mugshot front and center, man of interest.
Yeah.
There were tons of leaks from the prosecution. Oh, we found stuff on Zacharias' farm.
Yeah.
It was confirmed blood. It was all this and that and everything all around the press through prosecutor. Yeah.
Right. And what Zach didn't have was somebody on the outside like TurtleBoy digging up
Yeah.
all this information and publishing the counter story. So then the question is, should you allow both of them to do it? Should you allow neither of them to do it? Do either of them have an impact on the court system? And if so, do we want to tolerate that impact? And so there is Supreme Court cases on that. And essentially, more or less, the court has come down with like, well, we have to allow the press and people to talk about the case. We just, we can't allow them to directly influence the people deciding the case, the jury or the witnesses, and so they're trying to strike a balance with that. I mean, bottom line, if you can protest a funeral, then you should be able to protest a court, right?
Yeah, and I mean, look out in the streets now in the Middle East conflict. You have people openly supporting Hamas terrorists, and they are allowed to walk around.
Oh yeah, as reprehensible as it may be,
yeah.
it is.
And you have
protect speech you don't like.
Yeah, and you have reporters who are pro-Hamas who search up Jewish people to get a interview quite aggressively. So what's the difference between them and TurtleBoy? Because even if a cop is a witness, why? I mean, if a journalist, reporter, whatever, has information that this witness is holding something back.
So I'm gonna. Sean says his internet's out and he can't get in there. It's okay, Sean. I'll speak for you. Ohio is stupid and Michigan is awesome, and I mean that's all we need to talk about.
Thank you for being here, Nikki. Yeah, and everybody press that thumbs up so YouTube starts to get the word out that I am doing this. Now I know I have huge competition with the Maya trial, because that is insane how many people who are watching.
They're on Verdict Watch right now. Yeah, they're on Verdict Watch right now. I just saw
Megan Fox and Recovery Addict, and there's a lot of people doing stuff right now, and see how many. Well, it's not many of Megan Fox and Recovery Addict, but those two, are more or less vacuuming up all the audience at a time.
That's okay. We no, this is an important topic, and I know Maya is. I'm a Michigan fan. Well, okay, so you got 2 strikes against you, Sean, because I go green. Sean's in Cleveland. When I was in Dayton yesterday. Was it yesterday? Oh God, yeah, it was yesterday. I was hanging out in Dayton.
Yeah. Hopefully, I will get my broadband in before Christmas, but it's not signed yet. Anything, but when I got the 500 fiber cable right in.
Am I turtly enough for the Turtle Club? There's have you ever seen the movie Master of Disguise with Dana Carvey?
No.
It's a stupid kids movie. He plays like a secret agent, but he has all these costumes. And at one point, he's going to the Turtle Club, which is a cigar bar, but he dresses as a turtle. And because he's a little confused. I'm gonna have Dave speak for me every time. I'm not mad at you, Yamaha, because of the toothpaste cap. Dirty dishes. I didn't clean the gutters.
Yeah.
Over to you, Dave.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here I have a bit more about the story, with a bit of more of the background. There was the restaurateur who wanted she wanted a liquor license, and a reporter who looked up the drunken driving record. Here's the deal: they got that record from somebody, so they were double checking it. That is what they claim is identity theft. Because in order to get that record, you have to have some sort of special interest, and you have to be a certain someone to get access to it. And also, police chief knew they were investigating his past misconduct. The police chief was a high-ranked officer in Kansas City. And after 24 years, he suddenly retired. After climbing the ranks, and all of a sudden he retired. And took a job with a $60,000 pay cut in Marion County. So more or less, in my speculatively, something happened. They wanted him out and said, "You will take the first damn job offer that comes your way, or you will get fired." and we have to reveal everything. That is my speculatively what was going on there. And just a few months later, he became the police chief in April of this year. 4 months later, he raids the local newspaper, who was about to run a story about him. Yeah, that might also have something about it.
Yeah, it looks a little bad.
Yeah. We know there was also a KBI agent and his supervisor who had advanced copies of the search warrants. A sheriff's detective who wrote the search warrants. Department of Revenue staff who treated the reporter's actions as criminal. And a fire marshal's investigator who participated in the raid, even though he seemed to realize it was unlawful. Yeah.
Well, first of all, why are we sending firefighters in? That's my first question.
I would assume that he is a volunteer firefighter and police.
Maybe. But that's not very clear in the article. This is why I don't like the news.
Then there was the county attorney who claimed he did not review the search warrant affidavits until after the raid, even though police have sent them to him for pre-approval. Yeah, he received it because this was August 11th, which was a Friday. He got the papers in his lap and the result of the raid on Monday or Tuesday, and by then it had blew up. Then he said, "I don't want anything to do with it. Give them their stuff back," more or less. And the magistrate judge, with her own checkered driving record, she had a DUI herself, who signed 3 of the search warrants but refused a 4th. Well, she had some self restrictions.
So the Maya jury went home. Just an update on that, apparently.
Okay, Maya jury went home. Okay. Yeah, I would assume that, because there's a lot of calculations they have to do, even if they all think, she should win. I mean, I believe there were 14 or 15 counts, and they still have to award something and then calculate what percentage each should have of the amount or something like that. So there's a lot in it. But then again, you never know. They only need to, the defense, the hospital, only need to convince one, because they have to be unanimous. Let's see here. Yamaha biker. Not uncommon to have a non-firefighter as a special investigator with a fire marshal's office. Kind of like a special investigators with the DA's office. Okay.
Well, maybe. I mean, I know. I mean, any agent of the city kind of thing. You know, my dad's a inspector, building inspector of sorts, and he has a badge and has the authority to, you know, ask for entrance or get a warrant and whatever. But he's not going to seize anything. It's just weird that a police officer would go in there to issue, you know, to serve a warrant, or not a police, fire officer or a firefighter. I guess it's just weird. Unless they have like 2 police officers and like maybe need a couple more people to carry some things. I don't know.
Yeah, because there were 5 people, and that's the entirety of Marion County Police Force.
Yeah.
So all of them went there. And let's see, did I have?
How come shows like Dateline don't get in trouble? I went to Hawaii looking for Lori Bell. Yeah, I mean that's the exact point that I've been trying to make. If you watched my turtle stream my last one, and you go to the end.
Yeah, that's. Let's see.
Actually, I'm going to make that a short. That's what I'm going to do for people like Half Irish that don't want to stick for the whole story.
Yeah, that's 3 of them, and the guy looking towards the camera, that's the police chief who now is fired. And again, the similarities between Marion County Records and this one are very similar. But TurtleBoy did go to witnesses. But here's the thing, is that really illegal? Because reporters do that all the time with suspects, with witnesses, if they think something is very wrong here. Hello, can we get a comment? And then stick a microphone up their faces. In their faces. Not up their faces, in their faces.
Or up them.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, so... But I do think that most of it is what the Karen Reed case, because the Karen Reed case or trial already has a lot of eyes on it. And then they have TurtleBoy, who day by day got a bigger and bigger audience. You have people outside of the courtroom with free Karen Reed, justice for Dan. I think his name was Dan.
Yeah.
So, but here's the thing with law enforcement and courts, because they should be looking for, at least the prosecutor should be the one who says, wait a minute. Do I really have all the evidence?
Well, again, yeah, I mean, so there's so many checks. There's the police, there's the prosecutor, there's the judge. You know, all these checks failed. Wicked Psych wants to know if there's any other agencies investigating. I don't know.
The KBI is investigating, the Kansas Bureau of Investigations, which I believe is a sublet of the FBI or something of that sort.
Yeah.
But according to KCUR, they had knowledge about
to Aaron's question about TurtleBoy, I don't think so. They arrested him and took his devices essentially the same day. And according to the affidavit, not the affidavit, the complaint, they searched the database to see who searched the license plate, and they found that this dispatcher did, and talked with this dispatcher before they arrested him. So they didn't need anything from his phone in order to get enough evidence to charge him. They're using his phone to get enough evidence to convict him. So that's what they're doing.
But also, who else is he talking to? You have that snowplower who reported he saw he went past there twice.
Yeah, but he does all this stuff publicly. You don't need his phones. It's all on YouTube, and it's in his blog.
And according to that snowplower, or according to TurtleBoy, says he saw a car at the parked where the body was found, and
Yep.
nobody is investigating it.
So if you go against the narrative, you get in trouble. That's essentially what's happening here, and
Yeah.
that's the problem with all of this.
Yeah, and now they probably have. I mean, if they have his devices, they have access to his YouTube channel. Who is subscribing?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, anyone who watches me regularly, we're on a list anyways for the Whitmer case. So.
Yeah. Definitely. When do you have to be over at Valhalla's?
We're streaming at 8, but I just got the notes, so I wanted to read them before we go live at 8.
Okay,
so I want to take
8 is in half an hour. Yeah.
Yeah, half an hour.
Yeah, but
what's my stream? He's just piggybacking off of me.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I was hoping he'd be in the chat. He's always mooching off of somebody. But yeah, no, we're gonna do notes from the courtroom day 4 with the Caitlin Armstrong case.
Okay. Well, if that is in half an hour, because I see that Excited.
Oh yeah, Excited is going.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm in the chat, he says. Did I misstate something, Mr. Valhalla?
Well, I'll be sending you off to Excited because she needs watch hours. She got a lot from taking over the for covering the last day of the Ellison trial. She got a lot of hours, but she still needs more hours. So I'll be sending you off there. Yeah, the discussion I wanted today is the similarities, but also the differences between the two cases. And there are a lot of similarities, but as you said, there's also a few differences. Because he is actively searching out these witnesses. As a reporter. But still, they are witnesses. And as you said, there are two rights involved here. But is the right of a witness or the court, is there a right for the court proceedings? Is that to be unchecked? Is that more than the First Amendment?
See, you gotta, in my opinion, you have to find a balancing act because you have two very important rights. And like I said before, let's put the onus on the defendant. And specifically, we're going to talk about Zachariah Anderson. Does he have the right to a trial by jurors with witnesses that haven't been influenced by anyone? Right? Good or bad, haven't been influenced by anyone. You would say yes. Now, does the reporter or a blogger or me have the right to also report on this? You would say yes. And so where those things merge, that's the question.
Yeah. Where is over the line? Because what can you report on the court case and about the witnesses without actually showing up at their doorstep? Yes. That might be where do you draw the line?
Well, because I think you can show up at the doorstep. I think that's fine.
Yeah. To play devil's advocate, almost literally, because representing the government in this case would be the devil. Where was I going with that?
Well, would showing up at the door influence the witness's cooperation and things like that?
Exactly.
And you can make an argument that it would. And then I would push back with the fact that these are public servants too. These are not just your regular witnesses, but police officers. So there's a lot of back and forth. It's not very clear.
Yeah. Because if they deem, this is allowed, how many bloggers are out there with less good intents? Because TurtleBoy wouldn't break in anywhere, even through an open door. Yes, going through an open door is still breaking an entry.
Yeah,
you can be outside, or if it's a no trespass sign visible, you can't go on the actual property. Well, sometimes you can, but not always. But there's a lot of bloggers, YouTubers with that could misinterpret a right and see, okay, what else can I do? If they stand on the doorstep when I get there and walk inside, can I follow them, for instance? No, you cannot. You cannot go over the doorstep. That's my interpretation, at least, of the break-in and entry law.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need to actually break. You need to break the seal of the, or not the seal even. You need to break the threshold of the door or the window or whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you have a sidewalk, you're inviting people up to your door. If you have a walkway to your front door, you're inviting people at least up to the door to ring the doorbell or knock on the door. And that's essentially where your implied permission ends. And if they tell you to leave, then you leave. And he did all that. Again, it's just all nonsense. And the fact that they are now going after protesters in the street saying, you're within eyeshot of a witness in this case, therefore you must move. It just proves what they're really trying to do, which is silence people that are critical of their investigation and the charges.
Yeah, and since the witness is a cop, he is all over town. So they want to silence everything, because once the trial starts, there's coverage now. Once the trial starts, the coverage will be much, much higher. And they don't want a Johnny Depp situation with masses of people gathering outside.
Oh, what's going to happen? I mean, they're already gathering outside.
Yeah.
Anytime there's a hearing, there's hundreds of people outside. It's a big deal in Canton, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
I'm not making the journey, but others will.
Others will. And the same, now tomorrow when I get home, or Friday, Friday at least, because there's a lot of crap going on in the Delphi case.
Oh, I heard some stuff. I don't know. I just saw it popping up in the news today.
Yeah, because it's going to be something in the style of intentional or imbecile. And it's about the judge's decision to remove the defense lawyers, even though they said, we are doing this pro bono. He is appointing us as his lawyers, as private lawyers, not public. And she said, I not a direct quote, not verbatim at least, I can't allow myself to do this to you, to let them be your lawyers. That's the judge's decision.
Yeah, it's weird.
Instead, she appointed a public lawyer who has been in a lot of trouble, but who is also her Facebook friend. And another lawyer whose reputation is tainted. Now, everybody, if you're a lawyer, your reputation is always somewhat tainted.
I was going to say it's always tainted.
Yeah.
Since Watergate, anyways.
Yeah. But since all eyes are on her already, why appoint a lawyer you are a Facebook friend with? Yeah, the other lawyer, had... When the news came out about the cartridge, he made comments publicly that he thought it was good evidence against Richard Allen. So one has already spoken up against Richard Allen, and the other one she's a friend with, or Facebook friend at least. If you have everybody's eyes on you and you still do that, is it intentional or is she simply an imbecile? That's what
I don't know. I think, I mean, it could be anything. It could be Black Road syndrome. It could be she's hiding behind some case law that gives her the authority that we don't know about.
Out of everyone in the public defender's office, now there might not be that many, but why those two?
I don't know. I'm not going to speculate as to why something would happen, but it definitely throws some questions out there for sure.
Yeah, but they have have it up to the appellate court because they want to represent him. So yeah,
Yep.
why not both? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. But hopefully I can do a stream with the Mo on it or Friday or something.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah. All right. I will be sending you all off to Excited Utterance and her Photoshop intermediate advanced. Yeah. Go bother her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go tell her I said hi.
Yeah. Tell her we said hi. Hi. And yeah. Thank you for being here. Thumbs up. You over at Rumble as well. Hit that thumbs up. Follow me on Rumble. And I will see you again later this week. All right.
All right. See you guys.
Bye-bye. And